This year, the need for quarantine and social distancing has made many jobs and schools transition to an online environment. And although that does come with many perks, such as having easy access to the kitchen or not having to wear pants, it does also present a challenge. When you're working from home, there's no one to look over your shoulder, and it can be easy to get distracted. Although there are no hard and fast guidelines that you have to follow, here are 8 tips to help you stay focused while working and or studying from home. At the office, there is a clear-cut distinction between work and fun, which is generally the lunchroom because, let's face it, everyone is in a good mood when they're around food. However, there may not be such a distinction at home. The problem with working at home is that you can work anywhere, whether that be your couch or your bed, and this is where this tip comes in handy. Although you can work from your couch or your bed, it is best that you don't, or the roles for each of these can get blurred. For instance, if you work from your couch, it might be difficult for you to transition into a more relaxed mindset once you finish work, because now the couch is associated with both work and play. So ideally, you have a designated room or space to work in. Of course, that's not feasible for everyone, so if you do not have a separate room, you can section off a portion of the room. You can also set up a space to work during certain hours of the day. For example, sometimes I prefer to work on the dining room table, but I'll clear it once dinner time arrives. If such a physical distinction is not possible, then you can make a digital one. For example, if you have multiple digital devices, such as an iPad, a desktop, and or a laptop, you can designate one for work and the others for whatever else you want to do. If you only have one digital device, then you can set up a separate account for work. However, just be careful that you do not download any non-work related apps, as that can again blur the distinction between work and play. When you have finished work for the day, log out of your work account, get up and do some stretches or do something else to get into a more relaxed mindset, and then log into your regular account to make sure that there is a greater distinction between the two. This is also true when you want to get back into work. If you're browsing social media on your personal account, then you want to log out of that, get up and stretch, do something else to get into a different mindset before you log into work. This way you can make a bigger distinction between work and play if you only have one digital device to work on. In 1972, psychologist Walter Mischel conducted what would become known as the Stanford Marshmallow Experiment. In this experiment, he and his colleagues tested approximately 100 children. The researchers placed a marshmallow in front of each child and told the child that they would be leaving the room. If the child refrained from eating the marshmallow while the researchers were gone, then he or she would be rewarded with a second marshmallow. However, because they're kids, it can be easy to see how temptation might win out in the end. Side note, if you have time, there are actually some YouTube videos where various schools or organizations duplicated this experiment, and some of these kids' reactions are really cute. Anyway, among other results, the researchers found that the children were able to wait longer when the reward was hidden. That is, they were able to wait longer when the marshmallow was covered. Although chances are you aren't a child if you're watching this video, the same concept applies. In this day and age, social media and other forms of communication offer that sense of instant gratification and reward for many individuals, myself included. Being able to stay focused often has to deal less with self-control and deals more with setting up an environment in which you won't even need to exercise self-control because there are no cues or triggers from which you need to refrain from engaging with. So before you get to work, get rid of any and all potential distractions. Check all of your emails, your text messages, your social media accounts, etc., and then exit out of any single program that is not work-related. Leave your phone in another room, turn it off, or simply flip it over so that you're not getting constantly bombarded with notifications while you work. If you're concerned about missing an important call, you can set your phone to allow for certain contacts to come through the Do Not Disturb settings. Similarly, you can download apps on your phone or laptop to help you turn off or mitigate any notifications that are non-work related. If your work can be done offline, you can even disconnect from the Wi-Fi. Take any and all measures necessary to make sure that your work is distraction-free before you even get started. Unfortunately, there are certain distractions that you do not have much control over. However, there are certain measures you can take to mitigate these distractions. For example, if you're like me and you live with other people, communicating well can go a long way. Back when I was taking practice tests for the GRE or the MCAT, which can take up to 7 hours, I did put a sign on my door to inform my suite mates that I was taking the test so that they would know not to disturb me. If you don't have your own study space or room, investing in some headphones that cancel or reduce noise may not be a bad idea. Be realistic with how much you can accomplish. We have often heard the phrase, your eyes are bigger than your stomach, when talking about someone who orders or gets more food than they can eat. Similarly, you do not want to take on more tasks than you can handle and overwhelm yourself. Do not write down every single task you want to get done and expect to be able to finish all of them within the span of a single day. As you go through each day, you will get a better idea of what you are able to accomplish in a certain span of time, and you can adjust your schedule accordingly. Furthermore, you want to be cognizant of not only the number of tasks that you assign for yourself, but also the order. Learn to prioritize which goals are the most important and need to get done sooner, and then rearrange your schedule so that it complements your energy levels throughout the day. For example, if you are more of a morning person, you want to do the hardest and most important task first before you reach that afternoon slump. Conversely, if you are more of a night person, you want to do the opposite and focus on the less important and smaller tasks first while you're still fighting off that morning lethargy. And of course, the size of the task also matters. If any big goal seems too daunting, then break it down into smaller, more manageable segments. For example, instead of setting the goal of writing an entire essay, you can first start off with writing an outline. If that still seems too daunting, you can start off with writing the hook and our thesis. Break down any goals into as many steps as needed for you to feel that these tasks are manageable and it's something that you're willing to do. And for all my perfectionists out there, set a time limit for yourself. Nothing is going to be perfect the first time you work on it. That's what future improvement is for. So instead of setting out to write the perfect intro paragraph or make the perfect slide for a PowerPoint, set out to write a paragraph. Make a slide. And set a time constraint so that you don't allow yourself to fret over the details that you can hammer out later. And lastly, be careful about setting abstract goals. This may work for some individuals, but for others, this doesn't really work because there's no concrete way for you to measure that you've accomplished this. For example, if your goal for a day is to work on project X, you may not know where to begin, or you may not even know when you have finished because the goal itself is too broad. Instead, you can set out to write a timeline or to find 5 reliable resources to include in your project. By establishing more concrete and manageable goals, you are more likely to actually keep track and accomplish them. It has been said that the first step is often the hardest one. Oftentimes people procrastinate because they are intimidated by what they have to do. To conserve energy and effort, our brains will always seek the easiest solution to any problem. That's why it's so easy when you come home to just plop down on the couch and turn on the TV because there's no effort or energy involved. So the goal is to establish the path of least resistance to whatever it is you want to work on. Prime your work area the night before so that when you wake up in the morning, it is that much easier for you to start working. That means cleaning up your space the night before so that you don't have to worry about decluttering in the morning, making a list of all the things you want to accomplish so that you don't have to wonder what it is you should be doing, meal prepping or setting up all the ingredients so that you don't have to spend hours in the kitchen the next day, setting up your laptop, your planner, and any other resources you need so that you don't have to go looking for lost items, connecting to Ethernet or moving your router to a more centralized location in your living area so that you're not frustrated with slow Wi-Fi, and anything else that will help you reduce the friction between you and what you need to get done. If you're being paid for the amount of work you get done as opposed to the hours that you work, it can be easy to go through the whole day switching between work and play because there is no longer a set schedule that you need to adhere to. So now would be a good time to make your own schedule. Designate a certain time to wake up, a certain time to start working, a certain time for your lunch break, and a certain time to stop working. Humans are creatures of habit, so by setting a routine and sticking to it, you'll be that much more likely to associate certain times with certain activities, making it easier to dedicate all of your time and effort to whatever it is you're supposed to be working on. My favorite part of working and or studying from home is that I get to decide when to take my breaks. It is recommended that you take a 5 to 15 minute break every hour or so, and then to take a longer break lasting at least 30 minutes every 3 to 4 hours. The 5 to 15 minute breaks serve as a great opportunity for you to get up, stretch, do some jumping jacks or squats or other exercises to get your blood pumping again, and to just give your eyes a break from staring at the screen all day. You do want to be careful though and refrain from getting sucked into social media or TV or anything else that is likely to capture your attention for more than 15 minutes, because then your short break devolves into taking the whole day off. For your longer breaks, you can go grab a snack or even a meal, catch up with your friends, or do anything else that will help you return to work with a more refreshed mindset. Regardless of what you're doing, there is always room for improvement. If you're still transitioning to working from home, or you simply haven't gotten the hang of it yet, it's natural to have some difficulties at first. The first step towards tackling these difficulties is to first address them. For example, if you find yourself getting distracted, write down what distracted you. If you weren't able to accomplish all of your tasks for the day, write down what tasks you were able to accomplish. Once you have determined what the problems are and which areas you can improve upon, you can then figure out what you can do to mitigate these problems so that you're able to become more focused and efficient. Alright, so those are my tips for how to stay focused when you're working and are studying from home. It will take a while to get into a good routine, so don't beat yourself up if you're not able to accomplish all that you set out to do when you first get started. Give yourself time to improve, and as always, I surely hope that you'll take care of your health. See you next Sunday.